You have money in your account. You have people watching you. You have everything you were told would make you happy, and yet, you feel completely nothing. Not sad, not angry, empty. If you've ever felt that, this video is going to explain something that school never taught you, and that nobody around you is willing to say out loud. There's a very specific kind of pain that hits people in their mid-20s. Psychologists actually have a name for it. They call it the quarter-life crisis. And it's not just a millennial joke. It's a documented, studied period of identity collapse that happens when real life finally confronts the version of success you were sold growing up. Here's what makes it so confusing. The people who feel it the worst are often the ones who are doing the best. The influencer with 500,000 followers who cries themselves to sleep. The 24-year-old making good money who can't remember the last time they felt genuinely excited. The person who looks on every screen like they have it figured out. This isn't weakness. This isn't ingratitude. This is what happens when you win the wrong game. Here's what nobody tells you about success. Your brain has a feature. Psychologists call it hedonic adaptation. It's basically your brain's reset button. You get the promotion, the followers, the money, and within weeks, sometimes days, your brain recalibrates. It says, okay, this is normal now. And suddenly, the thing you worked years for feels like nothing. It's not a flaw. It's actually a survival mechanism. Your brain needs to stay hungry to keep you alive. But in the modern world, it turns every achievement into a treadmill. You run, you arrive, you feel nothing, you run again. But here's where it gets deeper. There are two types of goals in psychology: extrinsic and intrinsic. Extrinsic goals are about image, money, status, followers, approval. Intrinsic goals are about identity, growth, connection, purpose, mastery. Decades of research show one thing clearly. People who chase extrinsic goals are significantly more likely to feel empty, anxious, and depressed, even when they achieve them. Because you can fill a room with trophies and still feel like there's nothing in you. Now let's talk about the world that created this problem. Social media didn't invent emptiness, but it industrialized it. Every time you post and wait for likes, that's your brain releasing dopamine. The same mechanism as gambling, the same mechanism as a slot machine. And over time, your brain starts needing more stimulation to feel anything. Ordinary life, real life, starts to feel dull by comparison. Research on social media consistently finds that heavy users experience more loneliness, lower self-worth, and higher anxiety. Not because their lives are worse, but because they've trained their brains to live inside a performance. You have thousands of followers, but you can't name 5 people who actually know you. That's not connection. That's visibility. And somewhere between building your personal brand and curating your highlight reel, you lost track of who you actually are. Sociologists call this the crisis of modern individualism. The old structures that used to give people identity, family, community, tradition, religion, they've weakened. And what replaced them? The self, the personal brand, the metrics. We were handed freedom without being handed meaning. Let me introduce you to a man who thought about this 2,400 years ago. Aristotle made a distinction that most people live their entire lives without hearing. He said there are 2 kinds of happiness. The first is hedon, pleasure, feeling good, getting rewards, instant gratification. This is what our culture is almost entirely optimized for. The second is eudaimonia, flourishing, living a life of virtue, growth, depth, and genuine contribution. Aristotle's argument was simple. Hedon fades, eudaimonia compounds. Pleasure is a meal. Flourishing is learning to cook. And 200 years ago, Nietzsche added something darker to this conversation. He warned that when societies lose their shared sources of meaning, when tradition, religion, and community collapse, people fall into what he called nihilism, a state where nothing feels worth pursuing, even when everything is available. Sound familiar? We live in the most comfortable, connected, stimulated era in human history, and we are experiencing an epidemic of emptiness, not because something is wrong with you, but because the culture handed you a map to the wrong destination. The map said, get followers, get money, get status. But the destination was never happiness. It was distraction from the question of meaning. So what do you do with this? I'm not going to give you a 5-step morning routine, but I will tell you what the research, the philosophy, and honestly, every person who has come out the other side of this emptiness will tell you. Meaning is not found. It's built. It's built through relationships that go deeper than your follower count, through work that you do even if nobody was watching, through questions you keep coming back to, not because they're comfortable, but because they're yours. The emptiness you feel at 25, it's not a diagnosis. It's a compass. It's telling you that you've been optimizing for the wrong thing, and the fact that you can feel it, the fact that it bothers you, means you haven't stopped caring about what actually matters. That's not weakness. That's the beginning. If this video made you think, or made you feel something you haven't been able to name, share it with one person who needs to hear it. That's the whole point of this channel. Mind Current is about the ideas that explain why you feel the way you feel, and what to do about it. Subscribe if you want more of that, and if you want to go deeper, I made a video on the most threatening question for humanity, that is AI is conscious. I'll see you there.